歡迎大家嚟到我哋嘅 TimeCigar 成呢個 Cigar Journal 嘅專業卡評嚇。咁啊，大家如果係資深嘅雪茄友咧，都知道 Cigar Journal 係一本非常專業嘅卡評書啊。咁啊，裏邊有好多唔同嘅雪茄嘅品評啊、測試啊、一個品鑑啊。咁我哋今日都好榮幸啊，請到其中一位主筆就係 Jorge Tapies。佢就係一個好資深同埋一個好專業嘅評卡師。咁佢品鑑都有幾十年啦。Okay, what we are trying to taste for today?
Thank you, Ronald. Today we're trying the new Guantanamera Gold Edition Corona Tubo, which is a cigar that is exclusively released for Asia. And it's my first time trying this. It's, as you know, machine-made cigar, 100% Cuban tobacco. And it comes in a beautiful new presentation. And I'm very excited to try this for the first time.
Thank you very much for you to give your first time to me. This is my honor.
So I love the new presentation. It's a beautiful, beautiful tubo as well. It's a Corona size, a beautiful, beautiful band. The construction, clearly you can see that it's a machine-made cigar, but it's very well constructed. The wrapper looks very nice. And let's see what the cold draw tells us.
Does it provide you the Cuban taste?
Yes, 100%. And it gives me that sort of a little bit of that, what I love in a morning cigar, which is a little bit of that cookie, cake, vanilla notes before even lighting it up. It's that very pleasant cracker or cookie that you would eat with your coffee in the morning. So
just like some latte,
yeah,
something like, but not espresso, right?
Right now, I can say that this would go very well with a cappuccino mid-morning. It would go very well. Like cake, vanilla, cookie, cold draw. Again,
how about the condition?
Condition looks really good. It's very regular. I don't see any knots or any point of the cigar that may be either tight. So the draw seems very good so far. This is a great size for a morning cigar, as we talked about, right?
Yes, relaxing. That will wake you up.
Cream, morning cake. But I have to say, I get, there's a little bit of pepper on the nose. So it is a, what I consider a light, a mild to medium cigar. But on the retrohale, it does have a little punch. So it's not a boring, mild cigar. Like, it will give you that smoothness, but then it gives you a little peppery on the nose. As we know, it's a machine-made cigar, but 100% Cuban tobacco. And I think when you compare you're smoking Cuban tobacco and the price range that this sells at, I mean, this is a very hard cigar to beat for a morning cigar, early afternoon cigar with a coffee or even, cigar, smoking fantastic so far. The ash looks very good. I'd say a very good draw. Like I mentioned before, it does have a little bit of pepper on the nose, which is great, right? It makes the cigar a little more interesting, a little more fun to smoke, right? I mean, pretty balanced so far. I don't see anything that I can jumping at me as far as harshness or aggressiveness. The tobacco seems well fermented. I don't take any notes of ammonia or metal in the way it smokes. So it appears to be that well-treated tobacco so far.
So we have been smoked for about 10 minutes. What do you think, Jorge?
First great 10 minutes. I still get that sweetness, caramel, like you said, honey. So it's a very smooth, very pleasant note. But like I said at the beginning as well, I love the fact that in all that sweetness, when I do a little bit of a retrohale, I still get a little bit of that pepper that I truly enjoy in the cigar as well. So the burn is so far fantastic. I haven't had to relit. The ash, it's pretty solid. It's the typical color, the grayish white that you would expect from a well-fermented and aged Cuban cigar. The burn line looks straight, and there's not a lot of black on the what we call the eye mask line, which also shows that it's well-treated and well-fermented tobacco. So again, fantastic cigar so far.
Does it remind you about any Cuban cigars? Because it's tobacco leaves from Vuelta Arriba and Vuelta Abajo.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, obviously this, in my wheel profile, this is still a mild to medium cigar. So I compare this to maybe an Epicure number 2, Hoyo de Monterrey, or any of the sort of the mild to medium profile in Havana. Obviously this has, you can feel that it's maybe a little less refined that you would find in an Hoyo de Monterrey. So it is
simple.
mild, but it packs a little bit of a punch. So it's simple yet punchy. And that's something that I personally enjoy in a cigar. I'm not a big fan of a purely mild cigar. So I like a cigar that can give you a bit of a surprise sometimes with a little bit of a peppery note. But so far, very smooth, very balanced.
Right now, the weather is very hot in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I prefer a lighter cigar than a heavy cigar, right?
Absolutely, especially in a weather like today, which is maybe mid-30s and it's very humid. Probably this would go very well. Yeah,
Yes,
you want to avoid smoking a strong cigar. That's a very good point as well.
We already maybe smoked for about 20 minutes.
20, yeah.
How about the second thread? What do you think?
Again, the cigar has evolved beautifully. No harshness, no acid notes, nothing that will indicate that this is, not well fermented tobacco. What I like about it, it's still, like I mentioned before, is that it still has that, the peppery component hasn't left. It's actually, I'd say, maybe increased a little bit. So it's giving you a little bit more. And I think, again, for a Cuban cigar, I think this is a beautiful introduction to a Cuban cigar. Maybe for somebody that doesn't have the experience or the palate developed to really taste, the premium handmade Cuban cigars at the price range that we can see this product. I think this is a great way to experience a great Cuban cigar smoke that it's not gonna break your wallet, yet it will provide you with a lot of the complexities and the flavors that people seek in Cuban tobacco. The burn is fantastic. The draw, the amount of smoke I get, I don't know if you see it on the camera, but I get abundant smoke, which is, to me, it's a beautiful characteristic of a Cuban cigar, where you don't have to work too hard to develop all that smoke in your mouth, and then so you can either retrohale it or just exhale it. But it's pleasant when you don't have to work too hard the cigar. And this is a cigar that, for being machine made, it draws like any handmade Cuban cigar as well.
It's a little bit more peppery right now for the retrohale, but still it's simple and light, so relaxing.
Yeah.
We're almost looking for about 25 minutes right now,
Approximately,
right? Yeah. Many cigar lovers ask me, when shall we take out the ring? Can you give me some hints?
Sure.
Yeah.
Good question. And like anything in the cigar world, as you know, there isn't any black and white rule on this. It's really a matter of personal preference. I myself like to, as you know, the origin of the cigar band, it was for ladies, especially at the time, not to get their fingers stained by the tobacco. I, on the other hand, enjoy holding the tobacco instead of holding the paper. But I guess the most important part for removing the band is the following. Never do it at the beginning. Wait for the cigar to warm up a little bit. And the one thing I like to show is that once the band moves like this, that means that it's no longer attached to the wrapper. Sometimes if you can't move it, that means that there may be a little bit of glue still attached to the wrapper. And if you remove that, there's a very good chance you're going to damage the wrapper. Now, as you smoke, the cigar is going to get warmer. It's going to warm up that glue, and the glue is going to let go and then allow you to do this. So then once you can do this, very delicately, make sure you just peel it and it comes right off. And like you see the wrapper, there's absolutely no part of the wrapper came attached to the band. Normally people do it at least halfway. And then like you mentioned, I love holding the cigar in my hand, and I love the feeling of the wrapper in my fingers. But there's no special rule. The only thing I would ask any smoker is just be careful not to damage the wrapper, because once it can start unraveling, it'll just ruin your smoke. Yeah. So but and going back to the smoke, I think the burn line is still very even, extremely pleasant. I think it's evolved. If I have to say, I think it's gotten a little bit more oomph than before. It started very mild, and I think it's gaining a little bit of strength. I'd still put it at the medium level. But now, maybe like we said, I went from the cappuccino to maybe a light whiskey, because the cigar developed a little bit more strength and complexity. So now it's going really well with the morning whiskey.
But it's still very smooth.
Still very smooth, absolutely. Yep. And also, since we're here in Hong Kong, I think, even though we didn't have it, this would go well with a tea. with a morning tea as well.
Earl Grey adjustment.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it would match very well with a medium sort of flavor tea, not a very light tea, but something a little more elevated.
Okay.
But actually, I'm quite liking the way this is pairing with the whiskey right now.
Hello, hey, I see you come to the final third. How long do we enjoy this cigar for? Maybe 30 minutes?
I think we're probably closer to 35 minutes since we started. And the cigar, again, it's still smoking fantastic. Smooth. The burn line is great. Plenty of smoke. It hasn't, which is one of the key things when you get this low on a cigar, you start maybe getting a little bit of that harshness, especially in weathers like this. There's absolutely none of that happening at the moment. Normally, I'm not one to burn my fingers till the end, but this is clearly one cigar that you can smoke on for another 10 minutes and still nothing fundamentally will change in the way the cigar is burning.
But do you have any rules to let the cigar, we say, let it die?
Absolutely.
To put it down.
Yes, and what I tell people about it's not necessarily the length, is the more of what you do with the cigar. And this is maybe a good advice for any cigar smoker. Like, don't ever put out the cigar. One thing that I think, I think it was Sino Davidov that said, is just let it die
with
elegantly. With dignity, correct. With dignity. Let it die with dignity. So just when you're done, just leave it alone and it will go off on its own. However, this is not ready to let it die yet. Okay. So there's still some life left in the cigar, and I'm quite enjoying it with my whiskey. The peppery notes are still there, still balanced. It hasn't really...
still very smooth, right?
Smooth. It hasn't done anything that I dislike, especially when you get this close to the end of the smoke. The element of honey and sweetness, it's still there. Obviously, the temperature will rise a little bit because we're getting close, and the trajectory of the hot air is shorter than it was before, but it's still a very pleasant smoke. And like I said, this is a good cigar that maybe has another 5 minutes left before we let it die with dignity, like you said. Overall, again, thank you for letting me try this with you today. And going back to what we said at the beginning, for the uninitiated Cuban cigar smoker and the price point that this cigar has, I think this is an unbeatable cigar, especially in this beautiful presentation. This is a cigar that can hold its own weight against any other brand from Cuba or outside of Cuba as well. So congratulations. This is a very good smoke.
Thank you so much. Do you give it a mark out of 100?
Cigar that is clearly, I would put this at a maybe 89 or 90.
Yeah,
and
nice.
Again,
Cigar Journal,
especially when I consider the price, right? Because this is not a blind tasting, obviously I know what I'm smoking and I know the price point. This makes it even more attractive, right? If you give me this cigar blind, maybe my opinion would have changed. But the fact that I know what the price point is and how beautifully the cigar has smoked, this is a fantastic cigar. You know, a 90, even a 91, I would venture to give it because it is, for the price you pay, for the quality of the tobacco you're getting in, the fermentation, the treatment, and the flavor profiles, I think it's a superb smoke.
And the strength and the flavor?
Strength, I still put it at a mild to medium cigar. This is cigar, but even though it's a mild to medium cigar, it has a beautiful finish. What we call the finish is that flavor notes that stay in your mouth after you expelled all the smoke. It stays with you, and it's a very pleasant flavor. It doesn't taste ashy. It doesn't taste harsh. It's a cigar that even after I put it down, it'll stay with me for the next 10, 20 minutes, you know, in my mouth, and it's what we call the finish. So I would call this a long finish cigar.
Thank you so much. 咁啊，今集嘅時間係差唔多啊。Thank you very much for Jorge. It's my pleasure to taste a cigar with you. Yes.
Thank you very much, Ronald. Thank you.
Okay,
and cheers.
下集再見。Yeah, cheers.
Salud.
Salud.
Thank you.
Thank
cheers,
you.